You won't believe what happened when my parents assigned my sister to look after my apartment, but I had a plan of my own. They thought I was helpless, so I let a total stranger walk in. The shock on their faces, priceless. But before we start the story, I have a small request. Please make sure to subscribe, because your one subscription could help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Now let's get into the story. The tension in the room was unbearable. They thought I didn't know what they were doing. "Why are you giving her the responsibility?" I asked, my voice almost cracking. The room fell silent. My parents had decided, in front of everyone, that my sister would manage my apartment while I was away. For a split second, I saw their eyes. Mocking, judgmental. It wasn't just about the apartment. It was about everything. They had been treating me like I couldn't handle things, couldn't manage my own space, couldn't manage my life. I could feel my anger rising. How dare they? And then I made the decision. I wouldn't resist. I wouldn't argue. Instead, I'd make them regret it. But not in a way they expected. That night, while they were celebrating their control, I made one simple phone call. I told them I had let someone in, a stranger. They thought it was absurd, but they didn't know that I was about to reveal something that would change everything. What would happen if they realized they had no control over me at all? The door creaked. My sister's shocked voice echoed through the phone. The strangers I'd sent to my apartment had just unlocked the door. The look on their faces would have been priceless if I could see them. This was only the beginning, but what would come next would leave them speechless. As I waited, the silence felt unbearable. I could almost hear my parents' voices in my head, mocking me. "She can't even manage her own apartment." The words stung like daggers. But I wasn't going to let them have the satisfaction of seeing me react. I leaned back, staring at my phone. The call I made earlier was about to come to fruition. The stranger, who I had carefully arranged to enter my apartment, was now just minutes away. It wasn't just about the apartment anymore. This was about showing them that I was in control, even when they thought I was weak. My heart raced as I tapped my fingers on the table. What would they think when they found out? Would they even believe it? I could already imagine my sister's confused voice on the phone. "Why would you let a stranger in?" The question wasn't about the stranger at all. It was about the power I held over the situation. And then, the sound of the door creaking open echoed through the phone. My heart skipped a beat. The stranger had entered. This wasn't just an apartment being opened. This was a door to a new beginning. And my parents? They had no idea what was coming next. The moment they would regret calling me weak, calling me helpless, was just around the corner. The next few minutes felt like an eternity. I could hear my sister's frantic voice on the phone, barely hiding the panic in her tone. "Who is this person?" she asked, her words shaking. I didn't answer. Instead, I let her stew in confusion. She had no idea that the stranger entering my apartment was no random person at all. He was part of a much bigger plan. I could already imagine the phone call my parents would soon receive. I knew the exact words I would hear. "What's going on? Why is there a stranger in the apartment?" Their questions would be filled with disbelief and irritation. But I wasn't about to explain myself yet. This was my moment. The walls they had, built around me, the judgments, the mockery, they were about to crumble. Slowly, I pulled up the real estate contract on my phone and looked at it. The one thing they would never expect to see. What would happen if they knew I had been making decisions, investing in property and building a future while they thought I was sitting idle? What would happen if they realized that their helpless child had quietly become the one they needed? I couldn't wait to see their faces when I dropped the truth on them. The stranger had just unlocked the door to my apartment, but soon, I would unlock something far bigger, my future. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. My sister, who'd been so sure of herself just moments ago, was now speechless. I could hear the stranger moving around the apartment in the background. Everything I had planned was falling into place. But this wasn't just about the stranger or the apartment anymore. This was about the moment I had been waiting for, the moment I would show them that all their assumptions, all their doubts, were nothing but empty words. Just as I could feel my parents preparing to call me, to scold me for letting someone in, I took a deep breath and hit send. The real estate contract, the one that would shatter their perception of me, was now in their hands. I had emailed it straight to their inbox, with a simple note attached. I hope this makes up for my helplessness. I knew what would happen next. They would read it. They would stare at it, reread it, maybe even question it. They would realize that all this time, while they thought I was struggling, I had quietly built something bigger than they ever imagined. Then, the call came. My dad's voice on the other end, almost unrecognizable. What is this? I could hear the disbelief in his voice. The power was shifting. I had taken control without lifting a finger. I wasn't the helpless one anymore. I was the one holding all the cards, and I couldn't wait to see how they'd react when they finally realized just how wrong they had been. The phone call lingered for a few more seconds, their confusion echoing through the line. Then, my father, his voice shaky now, asked the question I had been waiting for. How did you manage all of this? I leaned back in my chair, letting the silence stretch just a bit longer. This was it. The moment I had worked so hard to set up. The long hours, the quiet efforts, the decisions made behind closed doors. All of it had led to this exact point. And now, my family had no choice but to confront the reality they had tried to ignore. I spoke slowly, letting every word sink in. You thought I was weak. You thought I couldn't do anything on my own. I could hear their breathing on the other end, waiting for me to explain, to give them an answer they could understand. But there was no explanation. There was only the truth. I've been working quietly, investing in real estate, making moves. You never saw it coming because you never believed in me. The silence was deafening. I could feel their shock radiating through the phone. They couldn't process it. They didn't know how to respond. This wasn't just a win for me. It was a statement. I had finally broken free from the cage they had placed me in. And just when I thought they might speak, my father's voice broke through the silence, quieter now, almost ashamed. I didn't know. I smiled, knowing that this moment, this truth, would haunt them forever. They had underestimated me, belittled me, and now they were the ones left speechless. But I wasn't done yet. There was one last thing I had to say before I hung up. Next time, don't assume you know what I'm capable of. I've earned every step of this. I ended the call, my heart finally feeling lighter. They had learned their lesson. And as I sat back, looking at the apartment they thought I couldn't manage, I knew this was just the beginning of what I was going to achieve.